Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm probably the only one here who has ever suffered with anger. See, I told you. Already you're laughing at me. Which pisses me off. If you've ever lived through an anger sequence in your life, you notice how easy it is for something to set you off to where you get angry. Living that way is a different life entirely. When I was a young man, in many ways, from a child up really, I was clueless as to what was going on. Interestingly, at the same time, I had a sensitivity for other dimensional aspects, connecting with spirit, being aware of them. But so far as what was actually going on relationship-wise in life, way over me. But nevertheless, it still affected me. To where, growing up as an only child, I grew up as an only child. I got what I wanted when I wanted it, with some restrictions, of course. But I also learned to be somewhat selfish, to where when those who contributed to this lifestyle died on me, it left me in somewhat of a quandary. Didn't know exactly how to handle them. And especially when I incurred the wrath of others who blamed me for the passing of my mother. How could I be responsible for my mother dying of cancer? But nevertheless, I'm just giving you a little background here of how I then proceeded to internalize this and develop it in such a way that I was angry. And I looked for opportunities to express my anger. I wasn't necessarily angry with anyone else. I was angry with myself. So I took it out on myself as well as taking it out on others. Now, all of this that I'm talking about is making reference to something we know as behavior. And you see, this is a point with regard to anger. In many instances, we get angry at someone. The fact of the matter is, we're missing it. It isn't the someone that's really causing us to feel that way. It's the behavior of someone that's causing us to then make a choice of how we're going to relate to that behavior. Getting angry when you're unconscious doesn't really translate into what it is. It only is something that you experience. And if you develop a habit of living off of that rush, then you find you become addicted to it. But the point is here, anger is just a judgment. That's really what it is. So, it requires waking up to look at yourself and in that come to a deepening realization. This is about me and the way that I am with the world, which reveals how I am judging the world and not really at one with the world. I'm not in harmony with it. As a matter of fact, you develop such a habit of it that after a while you start looking for things to give you that opportunity to release that energy inside yourself and get the rush from it, to get the hit from it. So, anytime that we're involved in drama, we ought to get lost in the drama, and we tend to blame others for creating the drama. And we can get really, really lost in that. Stop and think about it now. If you get angry with someone else, then it's because they're doing something that does not match what you want them to do. You're talking about their behavior. And if you call their behavior, and it can be an accurate call, deception, dishonesty, and you're saying that you believe these people should be behaving much differently, sometimes it's hard to get over. But look again now. Look at this. Because we're talking about what we believe should be the response of others. They shouldn't have acted that way, and they should have known better, or they should have done better. And that's whether people are judging you or you're judging others, and the reaction is anger. So look and see that your expectations are not aligned with who they perceive themselves to be, and not aligned with what they want to do, how they want to act, how they want to speak. So, here comes the big word. Accept. When you're angry, do you want to accept? No. I mean, if you accept, what happens to all the fun of anger? It begins to evaporate. It begins to disappear. And what do you have instead? Peace? That's almost like this, right? Peace? But here's another thing, too, with regard to anger. When you're angry at someone and you're angry, and you may be even getting it, that is their behavior, and it really isn't who they are, but who they're choosing to be because of who they believe they are, their behavior has nothing to do with you. Gosh. That just kind of leaves you having to look again and see what's going on with me. Why am I making this choice to get angry? If it really is their decision to behave the way that they are, and I'm finding that I'm judging the way that they are, their behavior, then I'm really, really, really missing a very important indicator. This is about them. It's not about me. Now, if you get angry, your anger is about you. It's about a choice that you're making. So if we look, we see that many times we have expectations that others should be doing, acting, speaking the way that we believe they should. And they don't agree. They're choosing something that they agree with. It isn't personal. Even if somebody does something to try to get you to react, that's still about them. They may know you, and they know the buttons to push, but that's them. That's their doings. Sometimes we have these notions that if we're in a relationship with somebody, we have these connections that are up and running, that then, because of what we do, we're so nice, we're so kind, we're so loving, we're so helpful, we're so generous, we're so right there for them all the time, and then they basically say, I'm going to do what I damn well please, I'm going to be who I want to be, and we get upset. We have to look again and see that what we're really, really experiencing, the again, is an expectation that we have that they should behave certain ways because we are so nice. We're so loving. We're so caring. Did I make it funny? It's not too funny when you're angry. So again, people choose their behavior and action in spite of what we do for them. And that is the source of our anger, our expectations. So now, what should I do with my anger? What should I do about my anger? Wrong question. It really is. Stop and think about it. That will help you. How long am I willing to stay in anger and live the consequences of my anger? Because you see, you're impacting yourself. You're affecting yourself. And of course, you're affecting your relationships too. But primarily, you're affecting yourself by choosing to be angry and to live the consequences of your anger. Anger is just an energy, you know. It's an energy choice that we make as far as what we generate. If we choose to generate anger, then we are affecting our present experience with that generation, that frequency. We're also putting it out into the ethers and bringing to us manifestations to get our attention as to what we're generating. And generally speaking, what it is we're going to get more opportunities to get angry until finally we get it, that we are just making ourselves suffer and suffer and suffer, even though we may believe we have the right to be angry. We do. We have the right to be anything, but we're the ones who suffer the consequences. So, look again. We're talking about anger and the effect that it has. This effect that I'm speaking of, I used a word to define it very clearly so that you could get the connection, and that is consequences. Anger always produces consequences. So, doesn't that just make you feel so peaceful now? It can give you clarity. Because you see, who I used to be and who I am now, not the same fellow. I assure you, you would not have enjoyed me like you enjoy me now when I was in my 20s. I didn't really enjoy me either. So after a while, I got it. And that wow wasn't all of a sudden in a second getting it, but it was a growing in myself, which I am still involved in, and gives me the opportunity to share with such conviction. I know what it is to be angry. I know what it is to have other people angry with my behavior. And more, I'm leaning toward letting it go. Just simply accepting it, letting it go, and then giving myself the opportunity to make better choices. Higher frequency choices. Acceptance. Sometimes I've even found it necessary to apologize. Is that a killer? For some people it is. I never heard my father-in-law one time apologize. Never. To anyone, to me, not even to his dog. That kind of living is not what I choose. I find it so much better when I can reach a place seeing, hey, I made a mistake here. And one of the first steps in recognizing it is to accept that I made a mistake. And then if it involves someone else, to let them know, hey, I apologize. I'm sorry for what I've done. I see it has hurt you. And I and purposing in myself, one, to see that, apologize for it, and two, to learn from it so that I don't keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Which now brings us to current time, and current time happens to be this up and coming month. Big month coming. This is going to be a month of truth and revelation. It's very important for us to stay in our highest possible energy so we can support this transformation. It is occurring, and this is to help us so we don't get sidetracked and distracted by anger and upset that may arise from what we experience in ourselves or with others. No matter how upset you may be over something that you see or that you hear, it is being shown so that we can release it. So, truth, revelation. They seem to stand out as if they are distinct and that we are merely witnessing them. When the fact of the matter is, we are living this experience that translates into our interpretation of the truth and our recognition of the revelation. If we can stay in this, we can then recognize that these things that come forward that seem to be so challenging, I can't believe you did that! You okay, Bill? See, that's just a little skinny, teeny, tiny piece of the anger that I used to live all the time. That I'm able to let that go and come to another place of embracing what life is affording me, and that is to let go so I can then take on more of who I truly am. The same is being extended to each and every one of us. May we embrace this. May we choose it as a way and means for interacting. Thank you. For more information about the Metaphysical Church of Enlightenment or the Rodin Foundation, please go to our website at www.rodin.org. If you have been inspired by the revelations shared in these podcasts, please donate to the Rodin Foundation's ongoing efforts to help others help themselves at www.rodin.org/donate.